Stasis is now officially the new Warmind Cell. Find out why and how to maximise this, all covered in a no-nonsense build guide. There's definitely no hiding from this patch note, as Behemoths arguably got the biggest buff they've seen since they were first introduced way back in Beyond Light. Diamond Lance though is probably the least used Stasis aspect ever, but not anymore. The whole damn thing just got the most god tier buff you've ever seen on one single ability, not only going from 1 fragment slot to 3, but also quadrupling the ways in which you can activate this incredibly slept on and now massively potent ability. Shattering frozen targets, final blows from stasis abilities, as well as final blows from the small raft of stasis elemental weapons will all create the Diamond Lance. There's a short cooldown between creating one, but if you're following this build here, there'll be plenty for you to pick up whenever you want. You can throw or slam these lances into enemies, which will freeze and shatter them, and doing so can also create another Diamond Lance if the cooldown is finished. Is this the best Behemoth build yet? I'll let you be the judge of that. You can now place up to 5 fragments on the Behemoth, definitely making it the most potent it's ever been. As we said, the Diamond Lance aspect allows for 3 slots, and then you can mix and match the others as you wish. I've chosen the Cryoclasm aspect just for its stasis slide smashing potential, which limits us to 4 fragments, but if you want the maximum 5 and more ice than an ice cream factory, Howl of the Storm is the way to go. Cryoclasm really does allow you to maximise the Diamond Lance potential in this build, because you're going to have an incredibly fast Glacier Grenade cooldown. This is thanks mainly to our Fragment Setup, but also a bunch of Elemental Well mods too that really set this build apart. Whisper of Shards still does what it says on the tin and reduces your grenade cooldown when shattering Stasis Crystals. The more you shatter, you can extend the timer up to 10 seconds, near on indefinitely to be honest. Whisper of Fissures has really been ramped up in PvE with this recent patch. It benefits the most from the increased 60% damage increase and the 2 meter blast radius increase, and is quite easily now the new Warmind Cell build, allowing you to cause significant damage and delete bunches of adds in an instant by shattering just a single Stasis Crystal. We've already mentioned that Cryoclasm is the main way to shatter these Stasis Crystals by sliding right on through them, but it's also become increasingly easier to just simply shoot them with your kinetic weapon of choice. The Whisper of Rending is the reason why, as kinetic weapons have had a 100% damage increase versus Stasis Crystals. This means that you only need 1 single primary shot to destroy a crystal over the 2 that's required without this fragment equipped. This does include stasis kinetic weapons too. Not a huge deal to be honest, but a great quality of life change nonetheless. Whisper of Chains also got a PvE buff to now grant a 40% reduction on incoming damage when nearby to stasis crystals or frozen targets. As there'll be a whole load of stasis everywhere, it would be rude not to have this one equipped. If you haven't been farming the Grasp of Avarice dungeon for the best stasis primary we've seen yet, what have you been doing? Aside from the number of great perk options, it's the first 140 RPM hand cannon to have headstone on it, with only the Peace Bond Iron Banner sidearm or the Vulpecula 180 hand cannon being subpar alternatives that can roll this too. Headstone creates stasis crystals on precision final blows which you can shatter by shooting or sliding through. This again increases the Diamond Lance creation potential, and thanks to the stasis fragments, it truly does feel like a genuine Stasis Firefly perk when you shoot the stasis crystal. Why settle for 1 headstone though when you can have 2, with the Reed Regret Trials linear fusion rifle being a top option for creating stasis crystals when taking out larger enemies. If you haven't got this roll already, go grab some Trials engrams by ranking up at Saint 14 in the tower and try your luck praying to RNGesus for a headstone roll. Even if you don't have a headstone roll, Reed does have some top perks anyway, including Firing Line and Vorpal Weapon as standouts. Having 2 stasis weapons is ideal for this setup, as you can pair them perfectly with the Font of Might mod. This adds a 25% stasis weapon damage boost in this setup when collecting stasis elemental wells. Not only will it count towards increasing the damage per shot, but it'll also increase the damage of the headstone crystal explosion when you destroy it with your stasis weapon when the buff is active, making your Stasis Firefly Effect even more deadly. With all the stasis in play here, it's as easy as it gets to create elemental wells. chuck on elemental ordnance to create them when shattering the glacial grenade, and also use elemental armaments to create them when defeating enemies with your stasis weapons, or even when destroying enemies with the shatter damage caused by the headstone crystals. Now the next two mods are up for personal choice, to be honest, but I've gone with ones that I believe synergize into the rest of the setup and bind it all together. Bountiful Wells is basically going to create 2 elemental wells each and every time you generate one, and this not only allows you to get the Font of Might buff going, but it will grant you more ability energy when you collect them too. Well of Restoration is going to double down on improving your ability recharge rates when collecting a stasis well, as it'll grant bonus energy to your lowest charged ability. This is handy as it'll likely be either your Shiver Strike melee or Glacial Grenade, both of which are key to keep your stasis tank on the move. Not only that, but the Orbs of Restoration mod will grant ability energy to your lowest charged ability when collecting an Orb of Power. Whether that's from your teammates or just your own masterworked weapons, it's a great mod for very little cost. The cherry on top of this build though is the exotic Precious Scars. It's very underrated, but it'll always give a healing boost to you and nearby allies on matching subclass elemental weapon final blows. As we're stasised out of our minds, you'll get to proc this from once again either of your stasis weapons and the headstone explosions, arguably turning this exotic from a meme to meta for stasis titans going forwards. Behemoth's Glacial Quake Super got a huge hit in the cooldown department with its base rate around 9 minutes. You can choose to bump this up with high stat armor or intellect mods, and even the hands-on mod from the seasonal artifact. But I mean, as you can see, this whole build is the Glacial Quake Super without actually using it. That being said, the super is back to a good spot damage wise with a 50% damage increase to melee attacks whilst the super is active, making it nothing to be sniffed at. Momentum Transfer is also going to improve your melee cooldown too when causing grenade damage, which any shattering of it will count towards. It also leaves you open to use champion mods as you wish, probably with your energy weapon slot or the Unstoppable Fusions mod. And with literally everybody these days running particle deconstruction, you don't really need to run it, so in a team environment fill your boots with something else, maybe even Thermoclastic Strike if you're feeling extra brave. This all works incredibly well as a mass ad control high damage output build. The insane buffs to shatter damage in PvE have skyrocketed such setups to the top table in the 30th anniversary update, and honestly make Warmind Cells a thing of the long forgotten past. Stasis is in its final form and it's glorious. I'll tell you what else is glorious. You who has made it to this point in the video where you click that subscribe button. Also, go try snag yourself a headstone Ayers Luna with this quick farming tips and tricks guide shown right here just for you.